because it's an international list.
Kevin Daum's here, author of Roar, Get Heard in the Sales and Marketing Jungle.
Kevin finished 11th on the list,
yeah,
just
seriously.
off,
I was just
off the
going to
list.
say, Kevin, what do you think of this list? Are you, I mean...
I would have been happier to be in the top 10 myself.
Well,
but,
I'm with you, but...
Yeah. But other than that, it's good. These guys are working hard. They're
It's a load of money.
It is a ton of money.
It's an interesting,
a load of money.
It's an interesting segue, too, because we talk about brand destruction. We certainly know about BP and Toyota this year. And I actually have a list here, 24/7 Wall Street. It's an interesting website. Put together a list of the 10 greatest brand destructions in the first 6 months. BP went from whatever they were to 0. 100% brand value gone.
And amazing Tiger Woods wasn't on that list, right?
And Tiger wasn't on that list, but we're seeing by these numbers, if you believe these numbers, they're kind of, it's an art form, it's not a science, but his brand is still okay, surviving, hanging in there. Would you agree with that?
Well, brand at the end of the day is about popularity, right? I mean, when you look at small companies, brand isn't necessarily important when you're a tiny little company and you're all about your product. What happens is you get to be well known, and essentially that brand starts to carry weight. And of course, Wall Street, who likes to bet on everything and anything, has to take a look and say, is this brand going to actually add value to the business, or is it going to detract?
Sure.
And so they're constantly speculating, trying to get ahead of it to figure out which way it was going. I looked at the list. I thought one of the most interesting items on the list was Johnson & Johnson and McNeil, right? Mm-hmm. Because we all remember what happened with the Tylenol scare years and years ago, and then they managed to overcome that and actually bring trust back to the brand by the way they handled that. Now here we are again, and the list is talking about McNeil and Tylenol within the scope of what it's doing to Johnson & Johnson's brand. But I don't think the general consumer actually has a sense of that. And when you look at the contradictions in what the general consumer does, probably the most interesting thing on the list was Toyota. And we all knew about all the media hype about what happened with Toyota and what they had done to their brand and quality. And while they came down on the J.D. Power survey, here they are, and their sales are actually up. So what does that actually tell you about what brand does to the actual commerce aspect?
But PR-wise, they got clobbered. Just so everybody knows, these companies have lost $100 billion in brand value since January 1. How do we qualify that?
Well, I don't necessarily believe that it's a science, much like you said, Chris. I think this is Wall Street's way of trying to figure out speculatively what it's going to do to their economics down the line. And the fact is they can turn it around simply by offering a product that is dynamic and something that people are really interested in.
So just quickly, we're translating this into sales. Basically is what we're doing.
Right, we're trying to translate it. We're trying to translate it into sales and what it's going to do to stock value. It doesn't have an impact on profitability unless it's going to actually impact what they're going to have to spend to make up the brand, and that's the issue with BP right now. They're looking at the amount of billions that they're going to have to spend to get back to that place. But truly, even if it hadn't been for the BP spill, who actually thinks of Exxon related to the Valdez spill that was many, many years ago? It doesn't stop you from going in the station and buying gas. Truthfully, if BP dropped their price a little bit and they were 10 cents cheaper a gallon than everybody else, then everybody would forget about what's going on in Louisiana and go save 10 cents a gallon.
It's also the intangible if BP wanted to sell itself, because you're talking about the value of the assets, the hard assets that they have, plus the value of the brand. Now, if their brand is 0, then that net intangible is 0. They can't get anything more than just the clear-cut value of the assets.
Of course, but hands down, the brand value itself from a public perception is going to be a smaller percentage than what the cost of the actual cleanup is going to do and what that's going to do to their balance sheet. So it has some impact, but not a ton. And really, one of the best examples, it's not on there, but you talk about brand versus the product itself. Look at what happened to Coke when they changed their recipe, right? Many years ago, right? They went to the new Coke, and everybody said they didn't like the product, and all of a sudden it had an impact on the brand, and yet today it has 0 impact, and they're still #1.
Okay, I have a real quick comment about that, though. You think they did that on purpose?
They brought attention to themselves. I mean, everything they do is on purpose in some way, but I don't necessarily think it got the desired result.
When they brought Coke, the original Coke, back, it was like, thank God, I got to go buy Coke.
Exactly.
Coke,
but the way these companies can overcome it is connecting. We talked about the last time I was here, it's all about empathy. It's all about what are they solving for the customer. And if they can connect back with that customer on a direct basis with a product and with service that's actually going to make an impact in their lives, the brand becomes secondary. The brand is just an issue of being able to create loyalty among their loyal, and their loyal people are always loyal. That's why Toyota sales are still up.
Kevin, we have to wrap up quickly. Google. That China thing, come on. I mean, at the end of the day, did they lose brand value? I'm not going anywhere but Google.
Well, exactly. They lost brand value within the people who actually care. You know, I always laugh at a company who has to put "do no harm" in their motto so that they make sure that they do no harm,
Wow.
right? So where is their brand? Their brand is wholly recognizable. It's the biggest. Bing isn't even coming up anywhere close as of yet. And so until people say, well, I want to go do something else because of the way that search is benefiting them, Google's going to be the top brand, and they're going to continue to stay in that place.
Yeah, to put them on a list with BP, I thought was a little harsh. Kevin Daum, author of Roar, Get Heard in the Sales and Marketing Jungle. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks
Good
for
to
having
see
me.
you again, Kev.